Yeah.
We're good. Sorry.
Good.
Yeah, go for it.
First is regular roll balance and mitigate structural violence to improve the office, argue the privilege to the truth of the solution are supposed to get off with one paper, obligation valid form for concepts and pertain of it. The really mutual the stats stood up and conceded those races still long debate. It's important that the foreign speed beautiful relationships to each other performance and our rights just ground reflect the beliefs of the relevant debaters must be held accountable for the wicked speech that educators debate. We have an ethical obligation to foster an atmosphere of education. Two, structural violence and play justified all of them to sentence away the fear of lasting peace involved in elimination of causes of invisible wars, structural basis of oppression. These cannot be safeguarded without the structural invisible war. No act along with balance to make sure unless inequality is reduced. Paves the way for self behavior for the final catastrophe degree. Structural violence mobilized establish on persons is necessary to form public policy making. The Springer 11. Structural violence is symbolic by the form of disorders like dark matter. They can be taken into account when it makes sense to the solutions. Violent condition launch downward spiral, distracting the real implication of the racial low facts to be some of the weight of violence generating entirely factor 4. Each link exponentially reduces further for a populated next to conduct trials, be skeptical of specificity in model obvious engagement, imposing impossible standard of defense is meta. 98 public scenarios can require to live in the deserve. Even when the spark scenario compared to the number of things that can be possible, likelihood of scenario instead. On certain hawks, whether reported things of close to non-zero probability, possible standard of defense. Prioritize probability models of infinite magnitude collapse position making best collapse. Because for 808 does risk defined by minimum velocity for marginal losing probabilities and the high improbability because of relevant. Loss goes to infinity of one factor versus infinity, but small no balance measure and risk management breaks down. And even with the fact that certain scenarios create plausibility for construction game 5 infinitary paradox existential risk. First is past plus wager and supervised decision making best Monday. 15 massive lead to experts to surprise the film with a watch to cover more than new rule scenarios and new rule of work and mean mitigate the film likely we have reached with a bit on all of them we spread them so then that this becomes meaningless. 6 sacrifices have the future they preserve render marginalized life on time to trust to the inner investment rights of all sense to future rooted due to the time prudence of human perfectibility are due to bounds limited progress narratives that render out of time to impose on the future ethical limitations will count as progress and what humanity means negative implications for those who disrupt the norm and standard down. Offense, our sole contention is racism. Black lily actually faces specific adverse to make a elements happy the players and talk general face with Jelly adults 22 black lily athletes target racial stereotyping athletes students despite social adversity experienced by black college athletes and other sports and plays major collegiate athletes and TFA refer to black athletes account for 56% male, basketball players 45% male, female basketball players. Other research of coaches and other projects were rather than competent students directly from students college adults. College athletes include $18 billion for the NCAA, 1,100 school teacher, 85% athletes of the public personal only for anti-black athletes who are college sports. There was commercialized for black athletes doing Oscar less like graduate college. That's silver 21 black males were less like graduates than black community athletes worth 60% university exposed, not solved. It's also offered for as one scholarship. First white guys reparation that does fit structural coverage. The Senate also measures sex, scholarship, ground, structural coverage, and scholarship requires against college sport. Because less than choice and necessity, education is hard to provide for full compensation in labor and revenue. 2. NIL, where free flights, athletic leagues, and coerces athletes via private exploitation. Lemon 21. Coach regularly allowed to do this for surveillance and with the term structural version based athletes from remaining good graces. NIL are a new era of labor supplementing players from NCAA from private companies. Athletes have to generate profit. However, athletes have no help to market themselves as individual resources, not able to create benefits while literature shows the economic output may not. For themselves, 1. Compensation and revenue sharing. That's also for 3. Decision that athletes and employees will increase compensation to only ultimately concede that 3% versus cost of reputationally similar in negotiating employment practical scrutiny under trust. 2. The affirmative laws for unions. That's version 22 as employees athletes perform unions engage collective bargaining to target out to historical that legal 3. Federal work study self for burden and financial insolvent states allowed to state revenues will only be classified as athletes and employees can include federal work study program federally funded aid program based on age. Denial of economic freedom has reduced black graduation rates, home ownership rates, and worsened racial inequality. This given all 20. Denial of access to the fair market that has cost for long-term financial security. Black college athletes have lower home ownership rates than white, and athletes receive a fair market value ownership of black players could be 100% for basic structural inequalities and narrow freaking impact on money, on academic access, and refusal to your revenue symptomatic of the larger system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is everyone good for me to submit? Order will be like literally 3 seconds on framing in the case.
3 seconds on there.
Yeah. It'll be super quick. Yeah, just let me know. And then I'll
I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry, I have so many dots out there that I can't do anything.
Okay, it's in. Okay, is anyone not ready? Oh, yeah, 1 minute. Okay, cool. Is anyone not ready? Cool. Framing is not offensive. We read arguments of Lincoln's or RSV arguments case. Students innovation, China's going to leave the door open. Current box 24. China's language and financial market for deep research filed with weakened the tech industry. American University capitalizing box 24. Research American University through selling, planning, increasing internal inventions, and to broader progress. Box 20. University playing a pivotal role including innovation. The economy as a whole, institutions are focusing new research. As a result, all standards ahead. Box 24. China lags the US by at least a year, may be falling further behind. Unquoted. Number 22. Demon called out these employees schools with a section 501C3 designation, which impacts charitable gifts. Fund 13, Burn 13, closing major role in U.S. scientific competitiveness. Private gifts provide 30% of annual funds in universities. Affirmative shutter innovation. Right code 5. The tax deduction were eliminated. Contributions will drop 65%. Indeed, AAE 22. University innovation will be possible with tax endowments. Basic uniquely for the estimation now. Change 23. She with economic solutions to build the nationalism by triggering conflict about China's population. Without use innovation for 19. Shifts in the balance create new tech create instability. Trying to lead over the U.S. providing with a newfound advantage to initiate conflict. And Georgetown 23. Across the globe, movement grows representing vulnerable time for war, existing inequalities and magnified human rights at risk. Mention to small businesses. Small business running shoulders by very small business feeling better as inflation cools and recession fears subside. Pushing the economy is strong but on the brink. Georgia 23, the U.S. economy is fully recovered to pre-COVID inflation falling, the labor market is strong, but we live in a more shock-prone world. And I love small business, John 21. And I led to a scramble small business securing endorsement with assets, a massive new marketing opportunity. The NIL market worth a small amount. For number 423, the 30-year on the NIL to yield a market worth of $1 billion and it's drastically increasing. China from yesterday, NIL deals increased 146% for 2022 to 2023. Sponsorship growth, brand recognition, and trust. However, Fernie kills NIL. 423, institutions like bears and student athletes competing with employment designation impeding to know that for brand opportunities diminish interest from brands as everything as NIL is uniquely key in Mode 23. Through working with now the business can track a large consumer base without spending millions of dollars. In this conversation charts 11. If small business struggles, they will cut employee job and consumer spending being low. This results in a recession. In fact, small business or TFA 19. Small business reaches to net new jobs. Actual recession with the U.S. spills over. Result 20. The U.S. contributes 30% of global GDP. The crucial import market economic price in the U.S. spill over because and percentage of minorities the most during 2023. Black and Latino employment historically been hurt the most by recession. Mention 3 cuts. Affirmative expensive 122, paying all that cost $200 million each year. Christian schools can't just relocate the money. Mechanic 24, schools sign lucrative employment contract with coaches affected. Employees could sue the state with university licensing facility construction. Affirmative does a job force with the university pay college athletes. The university choose between funding scholarship or paying salaries and makes it taxable and it's no date. All those scholarships any form of compensation the student athletes receive would involve in the taxes of nature over $10,000 annually. This is key and it just no date. D1, 53% athletes receive athletic aid. D2, 56%, D3, 75%. Furthermore, NOAA 21. College athletics can cost thousands of student fees. The majority of the revenue collected by the athletic department causes dropouts. College 22. 1 in 4 students will be forced to drop. Cost of the tuition costs increased by 5%. And finally, Merciful 23. Students will be able to bring discrimination claims and rape litigation makes it clear that the Supreme Court college will err on the side of risk. Duncan 23. Women's sports are bringing nearly the same amount of money as men's, which makes it unequal. As a result, poor force 23 student employees will open Pandora's box. Legal question institutions may not keep up with the financial demands. Closure deficit in Worker 22 and 7% of students displaced by college closure go on to earn a degree. The impact of poverty shamer 22. Working with a bachelor's degree and waiting for $52,000 to nearly $30,000 for no degree. Education key season 13. Educating the single most effective in reducing poverty and inequality and friend no day $8,000 tuition increase associated with a 4.5% drop in class diversity. That's bad. Booking 17. Education also plays a powerful role shaping worldviews, values, and beliefs. We must turn an effort to fight inequality and racism. I have 45 seconds. Go to the case. On the word about scholarships being, cool. On the word about scholarships being racist, the argument makes negative sense. If you win the scholarship, get cut. The students can't attend the school to begin with, which takes away their ability to get an education. Even if they win the scholarship for racist, there's no alternative. They can't go to school and there. Well, on the idea that NIL is racist. Okay, also on the top shelf. 1, non-unique, all cause for racial wealth gap. Newer 23, first is redlining, decline, many equal actions, credit, home buying actions, black, home owner content with low home value by 23%, second is underbanking, black Americans were willing to be underbanking allow alternative financial institutions, 47% didn't get banking credit, black also median credit score 24.1 lower than white, pretty important for achieving financial goals, like lower rates than home ownership. I will send, yeah. The first thing I read was analytic. I will send the cards for the second.
I just think the first response was mine.
No, I'm saying the first thing was the analytic.
Yeah, no, not that.
Okay. I guess I'll make a second document for you. Really, that's like that's cool. Really? That's cool. It's called untitled document, but it has the cards I just read. I'm going to copy of New York. First question is yours.
Did you read the title as well?
I read everything in the doc. So yes. And to be clear, it's all 3 warrants from the same authors. Okay, cool. Yeah, that first question.
Good. What is the affirmative implement a tax on philanthropy?
One more time?
Why is the affirmative, or how does the affirmative implement a tax on philanthropy?
It's not, okay. Our argument is that right now, because colleges are totally education focused, people keep donating them because they believe they're going to a good cause. Our argument is that when you employ student athletes as being sort of sports players and not current educational jobs, like a cafeteria worker, for example, it means that it takes away the incentive and it makes them tax exempt, and it makes them taxed for the IRS, which means that, for example, buildings are not incentive to give up their money if it's all just going to go with their taxes. Sure.
What is tax?
What is tax? Donations. Can I get a question?
Donations? Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And also like bonds.
That was my question though, like how does the affirmative implement a tax information?
I just said it to you.
You just
How does it implement it? The IRS. Can I get a question?
Yeah.
Cool. Let us talk about, okay, you said that scholarships are racist. If your evidence indicates that the majority of the athletes you talk about are on scholarships, how do they go to school without them?
That's definitionally not true. The majority of athletes are not on scholarship. The whole point of a scholarship is to induce competition, so it's only given to the top minority.
Okay, so again, how do they go to college without the scholarship?
Some people just pay for college.
So you're saying that the people you talk about, these minorities, are just able to pay for college, and they're not currently financially on lower parts of the scale?
I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. You can pay for college, but you can also be in poverty.
Okay, that's
anything,
fine. But sure, like if you want to make the claim that people who basically can't put food on the table on a daily basis suddenly fork up thousands for college, that's cool. I just don't think that's a true argument.
I mean, that's still a scholarship. Okay, can you explain all the things? Are there any hidden links?
What's an ignorant?
So your arguments about donorship is that 1, it would cut liquidity from programs, right?
Sure.
2 is that it would tax donors, donations.
Sure.
Is there anything beyond that?
Like on the first argument?
Yes.
I don't think so. No. Cool. Can I take a
No,
question?
the third argument, third convention.
That's like 4 questions. Can I take one? Cool. Let us talk about. Let's talk about the idea that your evidence that that says that black athletes don't graduate compares black athletes who play sports to black athletes to black students that don't play sports.
Yeah.
Why is this like a potential comparative across racial
That's
lines?
precisely the point. The fact is that black people are being discriminated as a result of joining sports, which is why they're disincentivized from joining.
So to be clear, it is simply that black athletes who play sports are more of a disadvantage than black athletes that don't play sports.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's an easy question.
What donorships are going to? Okay, so why would donorships going to student athletic programs or like booster clubs be implemented in innovation?
So it's definitely not a donation to the student athlete program themselves. These investors, the reason that they are innovating, they're donating now, for example, your science institution or your hospital, is because they believe the institution is purely for education. When you start paying student athletes as actual athletes and not educational workers, and they don't give money to those, it's not about the money to the student athlete program, it's the school itself.
The doc is going to be sent. I'm not going to get through all. I'll tell you where.
Here, give us a second. Is it already included?
Yeah. Oh, wait, never mind.
I don't see it.
I know like how to do that.
No, you're good, take it back. I just making sure.
Okay, I don't know why. It should be on here. Alright, yeah,
Who's that for?
framing. Fair case, our case, fair case. Did everyone get the doc first chance? Yes.
First name?
Per chain.
Can't
words.
say first name.
Try not to do words.
Yeah, we're good.
You're downloading it?
Yeah, I got it.
I can keep mine.
There you go.
Cool. Yeah, we're good.
Start on the framing, what they tell me they consider both these evidence, I'm going to go for the Vincent evidence, I'm going to performance, academic or ethical links, the reason why we prefer our arguments, it doesn't matter, their arguments are all convoluted, i.e. you will cause recession, which leads to our argument, that's literally what the Vincent evidence is indicting, that this convoluted links and ideas are what causes our arguments to not happen in the first place, or to be avoided, i.e. recessions and other things will lead to racism to be avoided in the first place, big stick impacts. The second link, I'm going to go for the kinetic evidence conceded out of the last week, should frame around for you, it says that each exponential link decrease in probability is 0, the link is terminal defense in their case, because they're literally reading war impacts, i.e. war and other things. Look at the evidence. The evidence is in context that war and other things decrease the probability, which means that none of their impacts can happen in the first place. They have no probability, which is why you vote for us on the probability question. All this is conceded, no new response for their own analysis on our case. On our case, the top group refers to responsible, not responsible to the case, even if there's all causes or redlining or other things, it's all reasons as to why there's structural racism in the school right now, which is why the after all, we tell you that whenever you vote affirmative, you increase the amount of money they get, even if the credit decreases or if they don't have the credit, they can still get social mobility and have the ability to get credit score in the first thing. They can see the revenue sharing model, which should frame the should respond to this in the first thing. There's revenue sharing and other things that they can have the credit score and decrease and get out of redlining. On the scholarships argument, they literally do not respond to this. They just say it makes negative sense. No, the scholarship argument is really simple. It says that it only goes for rich elite white people, not the black people that actually make the most. The land evidence is super specific on the question that finds that rich, that it's only getting consolidated and not going to the people on their case. On the argument about China, China is literally both Martinez 305 versus the technology leadership of the China is a launch for $1.4 trillion plan. China leads the US in 34. As I said, 44 strategic technology. The Harvard report about the China's and high-tech manufacturing industry. Quantum computing is sent from the NFC. Founded by China, close to overtake the US in the world leadership by AI. Refer their most evidence about generative value using polling experts, not concrete studies. Also, pretty much name drops hex once about real estate markets being brought in contact China, but beginning on the race in the first place. Then cut the cards in the red. Then public research trades off the economists 2 5 arts that higher ed has coincided with the productivity slowdown. University researchers convinced of also that they no longer need to spend money when it came to productivity. The big business models that work better. Scientific breakthroughs from public institutions have no response in public science and make businesses that innovate. Then on the impact specifically, one tech competition is self-defeating. Gate 17 writes that there's a danger of grants in the military tech to guarantee superiority. Countries leading learn from their mistakes and more advanced nations implement the innovation cheaper. China getting the US tech strategies that kids surpass American capabilities. Moser agrees the title of the article is Chinese tech progression. Quote depends on the United States as an independent defense if America stops invading China, they develop super scary tech. If they did, it wouldn't use it in the first response 62. On their argument about small businesses, one no link. Their John 21 card is about the business spending, there's a lot of money, and about the student deals, not that the resulting benefits can actually benefit business. Second, no link. Their card 23 evidence is only about the link of the app, but it says that the university colleges will shut down. These are the institutional sponsored competition. How are small businesses looking after Apple Racing Company with Nike, Under Armour, Gatorade, etc. Three, no link. Integrate via highlight of the Miller 23 card. There's 7 links in blue. At lower division institution, the change the D2 and D3 are forced to end the deal. The competition is laughable. Nike is sponsoring UW River Falls competitive trap shooting team. Fourth, no. Then recession is Rosa 24 closest to evidence and inverted yield curve was when the treasury yield is set the longer government bonds and percentage of recession because it comes right there. Wherever evidence should be terminal defenses of the loan prices are increasing the regulation of costs or exchange of econ decline is called more clarity. Don't ideas from 109 rival begins rivalries for price like determining during economic downturn prices of austerity pressure which cut defense expenditures on tuition. One actually under C3. They read a bunch of links. There's no delineation. One on their first link on cuts. Progress is the market for progress. People are only paying people athletes $1 is more than dollars than they would get otherwise. Second, the NTA embeds blatant gender discrimination. Now, confident learners and NTA purposely look as no spotlight to women inequalities resources include and having a room with cut card there. I'll send the cut doc after. Then on taxes, one would be exempt regardless. Element 17 writes that section 123 of the IRC includes gross income, free education and transportation fares, and section 119 allows for individualized food, meal and lodging on tuition. No uniqueness right on tuition should bring around for you. They continue non-unique tuition prices are already rising again 23 rates between 1980 and 2020. The average price of tuition increased by 169%, increasing the both federal student loanability and the administrative process in our colleges are contributing factors.
Mark down.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And also if you cut parts of cards, I will.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That's a debate round. Or?
You gotta be speech.
Oh yeah.
The analytics aren't on the doc. Like some analytics have been adopted on the doc.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take what? I'll take the 5.
Docket inside.
Oh, it's a basically Plano next to.
Yeah.
Give me a second down on it.
Can I take flex bro?
Go for it.
Is there anything on C1 or C2 that applies to C3?
Yes.
What?
Both the turns apply.
Turns on what? Turns on what?
Turns on first contention and second contention.
Which are?
Tech rates is self-defeating and recessions.
Wait, recessions? How does recession? Wait, what was the term for recession?
Recession is good. Player 17 opens.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think.
What was the index of the Emirates evidence?
It's in the doc.
Which one is it?
It's on the above the player.
Yeah, I know. Wait, that was evidence for you on C2. Is anything else on C3 applied to tuition except for the one?
Let me open the doc. Anything on C2 applied to tuition? Yeah. Let me open the doc. The lower division stuff.
What?
If there's no lower divisions.
Where is lower division?
It's the second response and the third response, or links.
On women?
On small businesses.
That applies to tuition.
It doesn't apply to tuition specifically, but it applies to the argument or the impact.
On small business?
It's a small business lower division argument. It means that cuts don't happen.
Okay, yeah. That's something.
Wait,
where is this? Where is
it's the second and third response on small businesses.
Okay, yeah.
130.
Okay. I already wrote that.
Nah, we're good.
No, we're good.
Guys, I'll send a copy. I don't think, I might go out of order, so I'll just send it out of this now. If you find
Should be correct. Yeah, okay. Everything we don't read all got after.
Is anyone not ready?
Is it in order?
It's ordered in your arguments, but we might go out of order on your arguments.
I'll sign this.
What's the order?
It'll be the framing, then like this, and then like this. Doing good.
Can I get the order again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it'll be the framing, like this, like this. On the framing, the response that only applies we go for arguments about recession or our C3 are now they're about education, and we concede linking structure violence on our C3, which I'll get to later. There's second response about probability. The education increase in regards to diversity is probable, and we read them here in case. I'll get to that later. Their response are not implicated to our C3 specifically. On our argument about innovation, none of the turns on C1 and C2 matter for their framing, but even then on C1, we will concede that they don't lose their 501c3 status. That means there's no offense here on the small business. We will concede there's no link that they will do good anyway. There's also no offense here, and it means that recession is not happening, which means the impact turn on recession being good ultimately does not matter. Okay. On our argument about tuition, Their first response on class is that progress is still marginal progress, but they can see that aid is cut. It's a prerequisite to even being in college in the first place, which is a prerequisite to their argument. Because if they don't have scholarships, like they say, they can't even get into college in the first place. None of their evidence says that black athletes would be able to go to college in the first place. It's a prerequisite to their argument. Even if they're right, the scholarships are racist, it allows them to be there in the first place, and it is a good thing because it allows them to solve racism later on in life, which I'll get to later. Then the second response is the NCAA embeds blame to gender discrimination now, but our argument is that it gets worse in the afterwards because they cut certain programs that are specific to women, so they're in blatant violation of Title IX, which is why it cuts the lawsuit uniquely when it becomes more it's more like it's easier to blame the NCAA if they cut the program entirely, which is what our argument is. Moreover, tuition is just straight up conceded. They say we're not winning the uniqueness. We don't have to win the uniqueness. They concede that for every $1,000 increase in tuition, they decrease diversity in education by 4.5%. They've also conceded education is the only way to solve for racism because people shape their worldviews in the classroom. I.e., there's less diversity in the classroom that people aren't expressing their viewpoints, which means it's impossible to solve racism. Or they've also conceded this is the best way to solve the arguments they talk about because it's the only ideological shift. I.e., if you have more black athletes in college, you're able to express their viewpoints and change the ideologies of others, which is the best way to solve for the root cause of racism, while their arguments are just alleviating symptoms. We don't have to win uniqueness, we are winning that they're uniquely worse because education is the most important form of racism, which is all conceded. Go to their face. First, let's start on the response to moderates about how they're all causes. Their only response is it doesn't matter if you give them more money. This is incoherent. We are saying that even if they have more money, there are other policies in state because of structural barriers, i.e. redlining, which prevent them from even utilizing the money in the first place, which is conceded. Their impact evidence is talking about home ownership, but they concede redlining even prevents them from gaining access to homes in the first place. This is also another reason as to why changing ideology is the only way you can solve their impact. This is the only way you can actually stop redlining from happening in the first place. Okay, let's find out on the argument. On the argument about scholarship, this argument doesn't make sense. Their lame evidence concedes that all pay is inherently racist and that playing sports is racist, which means they have no way to solve it. Quote says that if you play sports, you're part of a racist institution, even if you pay them, which means the argument is largely non-equal. Also, there's nowhere also they weren't still applying the actual. I.e., if you're paying them and they need the money to stay in college, you're still dependent on the money that white people are giving you, which means the logic is incoherent and likely non-equal. On the argument about private exploitation, it still happens in the afterworld because coaches can control things control this like playing them and how much attention you get from scouts, which means that coaches can always exploit them. Even if you're giving them money, it doesn't matter because they're ultimately inherited by the racist system, which means it's not neat. Okay. On the arguments about act solving, one on the argument about compensation revenue sharing. A, it's a prerequisite they're not in college in the first place. B, they concede that they do things like taxes them, which means they have less amount of money, and it doesn't matter. It's because athletes are fiscally irresponsible. Polycom 23 runs the athletes' limited earnings window easily leads to financial instability. The sudden wealth shifting towards short-term gratification, financial supporting family for investment, financial predators, high divorce leads to fortune drain faster than they earn, which means it doesn't matter who compensate them if you don't solve for the root cause of why the money is not there in the first place. They read something tricky about antitrust laws, but it's not solving the afterwards because the resolution is talking about education institutions and doesn't solve for other issues, i.e. the transfer rule, which is another subject of why antitrust like this on the first place. On the argument about unions, it's crossed like coaches exploit them. Unions can't work in the athletic field because coaches control their playing time. On the argument of the federal work study, it doesn't matter because they continue historically they increase tuition, not use the federal work study. Their evidence says that they can and not that they would, and the federal work study is limited funding.
Good for Crown.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did you forget any example?
Yeah, I read one.
Yeah.
What was the certification of the federal workers again?
Oh yes, they limited funding, so they can. Speech shot. Wait, do I need to send full translate or like is that fine?
Polycarpus 23.
I'll say just.
Okay, one second.
Okay, P-O-O.
Let me open up your doc.
Yeah. It's the fifth. The Polycarpus.
I'm trying to open your doc.
You're good. Just let me know it's open.
Everything else was red?
No, that's
that was the only thing right.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
Which one?
So, Polycarpou, Polycarpou,
Non-athletes are
is
financially
financially responsible. That was the only part.
Okay, cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright. Starting from
Yeah. Yeah.
That's three code.
This is their first question.
Alright. Is inequality up or down right now?
Inequality up or down? I'm sure you're about to tell me.
I'm not asking you a
Well,
question.
well, like, there's a lot of recent evidence that says it's decreasing right now.
Do you read evidence in case that says decreasing?
Well, like, you just asked me a question, right? Like, I'm just giving
Okay,
you the answer.
cool.
Like,
So,
nobody ever
are we
asked
seeing
me a question.
education with diversity, education, are we seeing racism break down right now?
Doesn't matter. You can see the more thing that education is the only chance. So if it gets worse in your world, that's still a reason to vote for us.
But you're saying this education with diversity and all these things are like a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what, have we seen any change?
Haven't seen any change. Dude, there's been so many movements and progress for racial minorities. Like, I just said.
No, like, I'm asking, what tangible change have we seen? Like, with our top level evidence, the Jolie evidence, finds that 85% of people are structurally harmed because you are saying that you need to make institutional change, i.e. in the institution. Yeah. Our argument is that the institution is fucked up and the only way you can change the institution is by reforming the NCAA in the first place.
Wait, you just gave like a 30-second speech. I get a question for that. Okay. How do you change the institution? You just give them money.
Wait, what? All of our arguments is that it's a fundamental shift away from the institution. I mean, the NCAA model has been the same from every single thing. I mean, it's scholarships,
that's a big word just to say you're giving them money. Like, how do you change the ideology of anyone?
I'm telling you to shift away from the way they do it, like NIL and other things, which is the lamb and all evidence that is conceded that NIL.
Wait. It's not conceded. Anyone can concede defense. But most importantly, like, I don't get how you change anything. If the racist ideology still exists within people, then even if black athletes get money, the structural barriers they face still exist.
Our argument is A, it increases social mobility, which you
No,
just
your
wait. Again, you just gave a 45-second speech. Let me ask.
No, I didn't.
You did.
You just stole my line.
Yeah.
You go.
Okay. A, our impact evidence talks about social mobility and other things that are increased by income. The second thing our evidence isolates per our framework is that the same logic that you're saying that, oh, there's structural barriers, so we shouldn't do anything for black people, is the same logic that is used by white. Let me finish. It's the same thing that is used by white leaders. Can I get a question? We spent a minute and a half on that.
Yeah, you got it.
Your case. So you tell me that aid is that scholarships is a prereq to going to college.
Yeah.
Actually, you said that uniqueness doesn't matter on tuitions. Why?
Because our argument is scalar, i.e. if we have 10 people, like 10 black athletes in college right now, then that's 10 black athletes expecting their viewpoint. But in your world, now
but
we
tuitions have been increasing for a while. Why have we, is enrollment decreasing?
Yeah, our argument.
So enrollment is decreasing, so the neg is just wrong. So it's higher than
worse. Like,
only way you can make change.
If you can see that enrollment is decreasing because of higher tuition, and that tuition also increases in your world, then you are wrong. Like,
the argument is that racism is so bad right now for all the uniqueness evidence, all the framing evidence, that the only way you can do something is by voting for it. Or a chance of changing is a reason why.
A chance to just say your arguments are not true. If you make it worse, then that's a reason to vote for us.
That's just not. That's not how this is the framework works. I'll run right now.
much total?
150 plus 30.
Okay, what are that?
Our case, our case.
We're starting at 30.
I will not go first.
Okay, so
That's
your
pretty
case, your
That's pretty much it.
okay, your case, our case, no thing.
Huh? Sorry.
Your case, our case, no thing.
Alright, yeah.
Okay.
I'm good. First response is non-starter redlining is relevant. They can see that affirming would improve credit worthiness for the eyes of white employers, which means that people are more likely to get home ownership. Plus, home ownership is not determinist of our impact. Yes, it was in reference to the end and the evidence, but our results in broader institutional racism and plus the fact that they stay in school longer. Both sides agree that education is determinants of this round and is the most important impact. But our arguments about the fact that whenever we are prepared, they're more likely to graduate, stay in school, and achieve higher goals in academic, which means that we have to far better internally to academic education. The first response, they say that all pay is racist. This is nonsense. Our argument is that we are abandoning a model of NTA amateurism. Even if it's racist now, that does not mean post-affirmative will always be racist. That's not an excuse to just allow social bias to happen. They say that country coaches control, but that's misunderstood employership. Our argument is that coaches will ultimately implement things like contracts and players can bargain with those for more control. They say that there's a prerequisite. I'll address this on their case, and plus I already said that we internally enter the education. They say there's taxes on scholarships. They drop hard evidence to indicate that the scholarships are not toxic. They say that athletes are fiscally irresponsible. This obviously makes zero sense. Even if they're irresponsible, this is not an excuse to let them just live in poverty. And our argument is that athletes obviously grow up and get more financial literacy because it goes away. They say that education is a controlling. I already responded to this. They say coaches deploy. I already responded to this too. Now the FW's argument, this is where you should hold the line. They've just read two responses that were sandbag, analytic, unwarranted, and just over time. The first response, they say tuitions is increased historically, but their emphasis is the context of stipends. Obviously, that's not FWS. They say that there was no funds. The government does not have no funding. They misunderstand FWS. Federal work study programs are from the government, not from academia, which means that government has to politically allocate specific liquidity to this program. So again, misunderstand the argument. Now, the argument, inequality is increasing now. Poverty is 85% of athletes from poverty. Graduation rates are declining now. That means it's a trier question. Both sides determines about inequality, but zero explanation of unionists on their case. But inequality is increasing now, which means you have to affirm them, no risk of salty, and affirming would provide compensation and revenue. Sharing, I also extend the FWS and link when they drop the term as being high structural lines. Now that weighs one severity. Our argument is of the abandonment of entire amateurism model that entrenched racism for the past century, but their argument is about a marginal increase in tuition. They cannot define numerically what the impact of there is, especially given that they conceded there's a litany of different alternative causes described in the uniqueness evidence. For example, tuition increases as a result of inflation, as a result of liquidity, capital circulation, etc. But they have not isolated a specific number driven by two target. I already did that. Now, their case, for instance, I'm going to go for the argument that tuitions are increasing now. This evidence is just hard. The argument that is scalar is just lazy academic debating. Because you should not just allow this argument in case the tuition has skyrocketed in the past few decades as a result of skyrocketing inflation and a litany of other factors. The reality is that zero is their link and is not unique. Zero is their link because the fact that tuition has increased in the past and we haven't seen any meaningful exclusion of black people means that their argument is probably not true. Two is the argument.
Extend that FWS comment.
And the FWS also solves their argument. Our argument is that if they can allocate from liquidity from FWS programs, obviously they will not have to increase the tuitions. Their own evidence about tuitions is only in the context of stipends, which are different things from employership, which means that our evidence is far better, that FWS is solved. Gaines evidence is more explicit.
We've taken
It's 1:30.
we're taking 1:30. We'll take prep starting now. Okay. Order. Our third argument on cuts, the weighing, their case. Is anyone not ready? Our third argument on cuts. So yes, our case, the weighing, your case. Is anyone not ready? Starting on C3 on cuts. Cool. Extent to which the agency the college funds the money to pay athletes, the athletes to restructure money because it's illegal to cut contracts. The most likely way they recoup the money by raising tuition price with $1,000 increase, reduce diversity by 4.5%. That's key because they can see that from case to education, the best way to do reduce racism is create the ideological shift that starts in the classroom, which is the only way to solve the root cause of the symptoms. They go for one response is through ink. They say that it is not unique because it hasn't had any impact in the past. They can say that our argument is scalar, meaning going up now, but they can say that specific evidence that every increase causes more people to drop on this reduction in diversity. They say the impact hasn't been empirically true. No, we've increased tuition in the past. Black people look at them to attend college and rejected proof in our evidence that's been empirical now, so clearly it is good. They say that, oh, it takes too long for your impacts to happen. Yes, of course it will take time, but our argument is that education is the only way to structurally change racism because it's addressing the root cause of the problem, i.e. the disease, and not simply the symptoms of it, which is the prior question that is conceded by David and the last week will end the round. Go to the weighing. I will address their weighing first. They first made the claim that actually all of our weighing will address theirs because the prior question, again, they consider that we have the best link. I will go for it. They can say that education is the best way to reach racism because you actually change people's mentality which starts the classroom being disposed over the real world, i.e. you're simply taking away a symptom of a racist institution, but our argument is that real world, once they leave the institution, they need the capacity to be in a world that's not racist, not exclusionary to them. The only way they get that is by education, i.e. conditioning people to have better ideologies and not simply be racist because it's what they've learned. Also, our arguments infinitely outweigh theirs on scope. They have missed the fact that their argument is about racism, but our argument is that every single person cannot attend college, i.e. just like racism and, for example, sexism and queer bodies also can't attend college, which means that infinitely outweighs their argument on scope, even though the system is racist. On the federal work study ways, this is defense in their case, I'll apply it here. They consider the government has finite resources, so they physically cannot supply, which can see that out of the evidence. And the evidence doesn't say the government will do it, while our argument says that overall athletic cost-based tuition increase, which means that their federal work study rate doesn't apply, and the argument is gone through ink because they don't have the money to keep influence supplying their case. I will go with the response to all causes. David's response are god awful. He said that they have more credit worthiness. Why does this matter? Redlining is an example. You can see that once they get the money in the real world, nobody lets you have access to things. It's not a money question. The people are racist, so they redline you away from homes. They don't let you get into banks because basically because the color of your skin, which means that their argument is internal impact. So first you go into the real world, and it's still racist. On the link proper, we will go for the fact that their evidence indicates that all pay is racist because it's given by the white people. They say that, oh, you're banning the model, but at the end of the day, their evidence indicates that as long as the white people are still giving the minorities the money instead of racist system, which would be a performative contradiction to turn their argument, it's time for you to change the system because you're advocating the problem that the white people are paying the money. We will also go for response on coaches being able to control. They say that, oh, coaches are fine because you can contract and bargain to make it better for athletes, but they've conceded our news analysis for models that even if you are able to bargain for a better workplace, the coaches, for example, will still make minorities ride the bench for years, or for example, will make it a lot harder for them to access their philosophy, which is 3 pieces of defense in their case that are not, which means they're not winning it. To be clear, they are solving the symptom of the problem. We are solving the disease, which is a prior question. It is conceded in 2 speeches now that education is the best way to solve for their arguments because you change people's real world methodology, which affects the real world and not just college. Rajgopal.
Yeah.
You say the next solves for the symptom of disease. Why is 85%?
Wait, no, not the symptoms of disease.
Right, the root cause of disease. Why is 85% of people in black people in poverty? Why are people why are in this proportion of black people just and minorities?
I get what you're saying, right? But change takes time. Change doesn't just happen.
This is literally just rhetoric.
Wait,
change
you asked the question.
No evidence.
30 seconds speech, let's go to response.
Change takes time. B, even if racism is bad right now, you can see it would be exponentially worse in your world, which means comparatively, which is what debate is all about. Your world is worse for racism because less people have ideologies that are meant to counter racism.
Really quick, to be clear, it's not our world, racism gone, wonderful. It is that the only way we do it is our world because 2 speeches have conceded that education is a prior question. Because it's not just let's resolve the symptoms of a racist institution in college, it's let's change mentalities in the real world. For example, the redlining response is a great place to look at this. You get the money, but people still bar you out of it because of ideologies that they don't know any better because what they're told in college.
Black people go to school.
David, conceding an argument.
I have no idea what you mean by root cause ideology.
Wait, okay. When you go to school, i.e. a black athlete is able to express their viewpoints, which is a good thing because our evidence indicates that in colleges and in education, that is how people shape their worldviews. They think how to conceptualize the world when they're in college.
Sides have both
Wait,
sides.
you asked the question. Right. So whenever there's more diversity, you have a better viewpoint of the world. And more importantly, we are going for that we are a lesser of two evils, because if we have more black athletes in education, even if racism is still high, it would be less than it is in your work.
Both sides have the impacts about people going to school.
Yeah, and we say if the cure is worse than the disease, you stick with.
Wait, your impact is not, your argument is not that people are go to school. It's just that you hate them.
Call it rhetoric. Like call it rhetoric. It's an argument conceded in multiple speeches. So I'm trying to explain it. Okay, Arnie. Don't click on me off. You conceded the argument for multiple speeches, so I'm trying to explain it to you so that you're able to understand in great class. Cool. We'll take a question.
Let's talk about your argument. Okay, why don't colleges have leverage over students in the world?
What does that mean? Why does politicians?
Coaches. Why don't coaches have?
Our argument is that even if coaches have some sort of leverage on the people, our argument is that it structurally changes and they get more money.
How does the structure change?
It doesn't matter if coaches have leverage if they can bargain against that or
They can't,
wait. Let me finish. Like you said.
Yeah, you're right.
Our argument is that when there's an increased amount of capital is well towards black people or disproportionate minorities, and that helps them even if the coaches still have power. Our argument is that this institutionally changes because it gives them the ability to do financial mobility and other things.
Wait, no, but your land evidence is about the structure within sports, and you're trying to change that.
We're
But
saying
if the structure is still that white coaches, if white coaches can still exploit them because they can bench them, that means collective bargaining never works, and we don't see the benefits.
This is like context of scholarship and NIL, which is only specific.
Wait, no, Lamb says paying them in general is bad.
It says scholarship. It says
That's the part you cut, but not what the entire literature says.
Alright, cool. Can you send a recut of land if you have one?
That's your first.
Actually, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just it's fine. That's fine.
I think you're not.
Wait, don't have that. Wait.
Yeah.
I thought it was that.
You're fine. Just take it.
Well, it's 3 more seconds.
Yeah, just take it. Just take it.
I'm so lost.
Just take it.
I'm so lost.
Take your 3 seconds.
I'm done. Arcades, weighing, staircase. Everyone ready? This round is super simple. It should be settled by the uniqueness question. They fundamentally conceded in every single speech that right now 85% of black people are put in poverty. This sets up the question for you because if 85% of people are already in poverty, the only way you can solve for systemic racism or racism is by having a chance to vote on math. This is what try or die weighing up was conceded in last speech. All they say is that their argument is scalar. This is lazy work by them. Sure, it's scalar. They've conceded that tuition has been rising for the past 20 years, but we've not seen any implication happen. I.e., people are disproportionately harmed because there's been a massive increase in because of the NTA in the first place, which is the distinction we make. If you solve for NTA, we solve an argument on our case. On racism, verse 23, they try to add on David's response. At the top, they say that structural barriers will stop. They consider our argument is not necessarily only about home ownership, i.e., it talks about creditworthiness and other things which should circumvent this. At best, it's a mitigation. The second response they say is that our argument doesn't abandon the whole model of racism. That's not our argument again. Our argument is that when you take a structural shift, i.e., when you vote affirmative, you shift the NCAA away and you move for an actual way for people to actually do revenue sharing and other things. The third response they extended that coaches are going to exploit. They conceded at both of our responses that it doesn't matter if coaches are going to exploit or bargains or other things are there because contracts are going to be negotiated, or even if they're not negotiated, people are still going to get paid, which decreases their quality. I've extended the link evidence already in terms of the revenue sharing. They've conceded the uniqueness. I've also extended that the impact is also conceded, which I extended at the top level. All parts are extended. This is where the weighing comes down. They conceded that they conceded the severity weighing pretty much cold in the last speech. Right now, people are entrenched in poverty. The only way entrenched into racism in the first place. The only way you can solve it by voting affirmative. Even if you think there's a 0.001% chance that the app has a solvency, you're still voting for affirmative for the severity weighing. The second thing I'm going to go for is time frame. They say time frame takes a long time for it to solve. Ask yourself, how is it solving? They have not read evidence saying that tuitions are decreasing right now. They conceded that tuitions are increasing, which means that they are not solving in this quote, which should frame the round on their case.
On their way, they say education is the root cause. They've conceded that it is not the root cause. Our argument is that even if education is the root cause, both of the arguments are turning this into education. We're also saying that an increased amount of funds can also lead to increased amounts of education, or our argument is that the system inequality will be saved by argument. Don't let them get away with just saying a lazy impact like scalar. I send the terminal defense on our Twitter.
Okay. Is anyone not ready? I'll start on the wing. I'll start on the wing and I'll be our case. The way you can see that our argument about education affects every single issue that links into structural violence, i.e. sexism, racism, and queer bodies, which even their winning uniques about racism specifically are not winning the other issues about sexism and queer bodies, which is continuously we out scope and uniqueness debate does not matter. But even then on the uniqueness debate, even if 85% of black people are in poverty right now, our argument is that 90% would be in their world because it's the lesser of two evils. Try that wing does not make any sense if we're winning that when you go to their world you also die. Okay. On the argument, they just say they outweigh on time frame, but they just concede the warrant level that education is the only structural way you can ever solve for racism because it's the only way you can change someone's ideology, i.e. when you go to college and you diverse viewpoints, that is what makes you less racist, which solves back for all their arguments, and it's a better link to their argument because you take out the reason why people are racist in the first place, which solves back for every single structural barrier. Okay. Go to our argument. Extend tuition increase. They can see that colleges don't have the money to pay athletes in the app and can't restructure money because it's illegal to top contracts. This is most likely the way they recoup the money by raising tuition prices and $1,000 increase reduces diversity by 4.5%. That's key because they can see from case that education is the best way to reduce racism because it creates an ideological shift that starts in the classroom, which is the only way to solve it. The root cause which is the root cause. Their only response that tuition is increasing. Once again, lesser of two evils. Yes, even if tuition is increasing, we have 10 black athletes in college right now. It would be 6 in their world, which means there's less diverse viewpoints, which is a link into their argument. Okay. They've also conceded that historically tuition increase is what they did to supplement costs, so any defense about tuition increasing doesn't apply, and it was not in final focus. We are definitely winning that tuition increases, and it deters enrollment, and that education is the best way to solve for racism. Okay, go to their case. They just straight up, the red line response is mishandled. Even if they're right that they have money, our response is just about home ownership. It's just an example of how racist ideologies will always prevail unless you change it. They can do other things like redlining, like refusable employment, which means that even if you make money, it does not matter unless you change the ideology. And they have no way to solve their land evidence is also terrible, and concede that the land evidence just says playing sports in general is racist, which means they don't solve the structural institution. And they concede that even if athletes can bargain, coaches have ultimate leverage because they can leverage playing time, which means they have no benefits in their world. The coaches just bench them. These are things about them.
Alright. Decision is in. Congratulations to both teams. Semis is a really huge accomplishment at TFA. That being said, the decision is a 3-0 for Plano. I can start. I think Plano's strategy is really strategic. They bypass all of the framing, like nuance that Seven Lakes has by going for their C3, which I think is really smart by going for education. I get one response, right? The tuition hike is not unique. I think the problem is Seven Lakes has to make more of an emphasis in the back half of the round of extending the analysis that tuition hikes right now aren't causing anything anyways to make it so that the non-unique means something. Otherwise, their scalar analysis, in my opinion, still frontlines it. So then I think like they still win, like, and they extend the empirics that says it gets worse. I believe it in the back half. That also answers the prior dialing. I think that on the app case itself, I at least give Plano some extent of mitigation on this redlining response, and I think that's kind of conceded by Seven Lakes. Like in final, like I don't know, goes up and says this is like mitigation. As far as the weighing goes, I think education comes first. That's kind of agreed on. And then one, the scope weighing is there, that it extends beyond every single thing. And then the second thing is, I think that education is the only way to solve back for all the other structural stuff, which means that I evaluate that first, and I think by the end of the round, Plano has a better link into it, so I negate.
I'm going to second that. I think the fact that racist ideology will almost always prevail in the act is what got me. I think the fact that sports itself is racist, so I feel like there wasn't a fair answer to if sports itself are racist. I don't think paying people is going to get rid of that racism. Like, I do believe like we need to solve the root cause instead of just the symptoms. I think that if y'all went for saying that that would cause spillover or how that would be attributed to solving actual racism, like the root cause, that could have been stronger. But I think the neg still solves the root cause, and that's what ultimately got me because, you know, again, if education is what we're going to look at, I think education is what solves further racism.
Mostly the same, like Jenny said. I just also want to say something about the speed. All three of us judges say that if you're going to go fast, we want a speech doc. The speech docs, first of all, in this round were almost entirely non-applicable because everybody kept on like cutting and going off the speech doc. You gave us like the red cards in your speech doc. Yours, you didn't even use your speech doc. You were going way too fast in your summary, considering there was no speech doc at all for that. It wasn't even just for the extensions, it was also for the brand new front lines. Just generally, I'm not very good with speed. If y'all feel that you were slighted or this decision isn't what you wanted to hear, it's maybe because we didn't catch something because of how fast you were going. So on the weighing, I think neg is ahead. I think the education, I didn't catch a response to it in the summary or the final focus. And so I think the fact is that education matters more. We see that even if the tuition continues to increase, we see less people are being educated in the app world, which means that overall they have better access to the racism argument. Yeah, I don't need to look at the other side of the flow because